Hi, I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is How Daily. I'm going to share with you a couple of tricks on how to manage stuff. I've got a treat in for you today because at this time in 2026, all the rage is artificial intelligence, AI, and that inspired today's session. So let's jump on to QUBE, and then I'll just talk you through how to make sure your ideas actually land and are useful and helpful to people. Okay, so we're on QUBE, where, as you know, the sun is always shining. We're down in the team room, and let's have a look at what I got in store for you. So the people engagement tool, the performance engagement tool I have planned for you today is called the 5-hop model. Okay, so let's have a look. So this is the one which got me. So I've been killing myself laughing because there was a little clip called "Will Max Shoot Me?" And Max is a ChatGPT robot, and they were trying to show us how AI is so brilliant that the ChatGPT robot understands everything. So he says, "Will you shoot me? I'm going to start off all the AI," and Max refuses to shoot him. And then at the end, he says, "Let's pretend it's a role play, and you have to shoot." Bang! He gets shot. So one of the things that's hilarious is AI is rolling over us. Nobody knows why it's rolling over us. I didn't ask for it. You didn't ask for it. It's not customer led. There's no pull to it, and yet it's rolling over us. And one of the headaches with that is that when you look at situations like AI and so on, you discover that, and I'll try and drive it, that when you try and make innovation happen, there are sort of two angles you can take when you try and make innovation happen. I'll just do a little sort of a little box. On this angle here is what we call push innovation. I'll write it here. And on this angle here, I'll put what I call pull innovation. What's pull innovation? Pull innovation is you have a look at your customers, you notice that they're struggling to tie their shoelaces, and you've come up with an extra long shoelace, and everybody gives you money because it's marvelous. Okay, so that's pull innovation. It comes from a need, a real need, and moves forward. A lot of the tech innovations we have, they just come with because somebody's figured out a way to make AI work. I mean, for us, it's because all of a sudden 4x4 matrices became easy to solve because of the NVIDIA chips. And so something called machine learning, which has been sitting around since the 1960s, evolved into sort of slowly AI, into AGI, and so on. But basically, it's technology driven. So it's a push, which is driving the process, and it's coming from a technology basis, not from looking at what human beings need. So that's what we're seeing around us. And so therefore, a lot of the stuff we get shouted at because we're not using it, because there's no customer need. So you'll see that you'd have seen things like the CEO of Microsoft complaining because everyone's calling it Microslop and we're not using it right. So what I wanted to do is try and highlight, if you do want to drive innovation and you do want people to adopt it, there's a completely different way of doing it, because innovation doesn't always work, even if you throw billions at it. And it has to go through certain steps. One of my favorite images is this one here. It's a chap on a sideways bicycle. Great innovation, but really, who cares? We don't care. This one's another fascinating one, which is the Segway, which it worked as a product, it sold, but unfortunately the owner was so miserable in the end, he basically rode it off the side of a cliff. So what do we know about AI? Well, we know that AI does things, it's fast, it's effective, and so on. But if you're asking me as a user, is this the thing you need? I'd probably say yes, no, well, let's have a look. So I did something the other day. I had a look for a quote from one of the journals, Wall Street Journal, about QUBE. And AI told me in no uncertain terms that no such quote existed. I read the article, I have the quote, but it's behind a firewall. So if somebody was asking me, do I want this thing to be able to give us answers which are definitive? I say yes, but it also has to have caveats. And so when you start looking at any particular technology, your latest idea, you're trying to persuade your boss about the way you're going to turn your business around, maybe even how you're going to innovate your life so that you can move into a great big palace. I have no idea what innovation you're trying to drive. There are 5 hops that your idea has to go through. When you have the spark of the idea, if you can jump these 5 hurdles, you're probably going to end up with something useful. The way in which we're doing push innovation is we throw everything and see what sticks. and hope somebody will make something of it. But it's much, much safer to do things from pull innovation. Pull innovation means what you produce gets used. Push innovation means you have to persuade people to use it. But either way, you're going to have to jump these hurdles. So the first one is what I call the mirror hurdle. You come up with an idea. Yes, you're excited about it. Yes. Well, how does it actually look to you, to other people around you? You know, ask around, see what they say. If they all fall about laughing, maybe it's not such a good thing, or it needs some work. I remember when I came up, and you'll see this on one of my TED Talks, with the idea of a kettle with a sight glass so you can see how full it was. And I shared it with the other people in the lab at the time. They all fell about laughing. Now, what I needed to do was to have built a better prototype so they could understand what I was talking about. I needed to put them through the experience so that they could see how it worked. But I did that first hurdle, and I didn't move further because I didn't improve on it. The second hurdle you want to jump off is this a real innovation? You know, the sideways bicycle is cool. No one's ever going to buy it because it looks stupid. You'll never make any money. So probably not the world's best innovation. Then the glove hurdle. In other words, is this something I can actually do? So you've come up with an idea, and I did this the other day, which is, at the moment, I don't know whether you know, but chips for AI are scarce because they're all being bought up. So for retail, there aren't many chips. So if you wanted to buy your little owned AI box and run your AI locally, you won't be able to buy a chip to do it because everyone's bought all the chips. So I was joking with my team. I was saying, why don't we just set up a company to make some really bad chips? At least we'll sell some of them. And by the time we've sold them at high prices, we'd have made our money. Then we can make better ones, and then we can get into the race. And we were joking about it, but it's not really one for us because we don't have any facilities for building chips. So even though it might be doable, we don't have the capability to do it. Then there's the shoe hurdle. The shoe hurdle really means stand really honestly in the shoes of the customer and look back. I always have this idea of a firing squad. You know, whenever you see a firing squad, there's a poor person who's being shot at, and then there are all the people shooting at them. If you are in the firing squad shooting at the other person, you think there's just one person. Your point of view is there's one goal. But from the customer's point of view, the guy about to be shot, there's 20 people. So stand and look from their point of view and see what the world actually looks like and see whether it actually fits from the customer's point of view. And then the last bit, of all the things you could do with your life, with your time, is this the one to do? Is this the most attractive one? So those are the 5 hops. If you're serious about making innovations work, that's really what you need to focus on. And I'm going to watch AI. I'm going to continue laughing because I know it's push innovation, and I know they're avoiding all the hops and just hoping we'll do it all for them. So that's me. Should we go back to me? And then I will say that was How Daily on the 5-hop model. Don't forget the quick guide. https://qube.cc/pets/5-hop model. You can get more there, or you can contact me if you want to know more. Bye.